Prince of Wales says the past year has been the hardest of his life. Speaking to the media in South Africa, he said he was proud of both of them for handling their diagnosis.
For years, royal watchers have been fascinated by the lives of Prince William and Prince Harry, two brothers born into privilege, burdened with duty, and forever under the public eye. But hidden within the history of Britain's most famous family lies a name many people have never heard. A sister who was rarely photographed, seldom mentioned, and whose connection to the future king has sparked endless speculation. Who is she? Why was she kept out of the spotlight for so long? And why, after decades of silence, is Prince William finally addressing the truth? In a royal world built on tradition, secrecy often protects more than privacy. It shields emotions, scandals, and the complex human realities behind the crowns. When whispers of a secret sister first emerged, tabloids rushed to invent their own stories, tales of hidden heirs, forbidden affairs, and quiet cover-ups. But the truth, as Prince William recently explained in a candid moment that caught many off guard, isn't what most people expected. It's not a story of betrayal or scandal. It's a story about family, about how one woman grew up in the shadow of a monarchy she never chose to be part of, and how William's quiet acknowledgement of her presence reveals something profound about who he really is. This is the story behind the headlines, the truth about Prince William's secret sister, and why her story remained untold until now. To understand the mystery of Prince William's so-called secret sister, we have to go back to the years before Diana, before William and Harry became global icons, and before King Charles ever ascended the throne. Long before Camilla Parker Bowles became queen consort, she was married to a man named Andrew Parker Bowles. Together, they had two children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Parker Bowles, now known as Laura Lopes. When Charles and Camilla's long, complicated relationship eventually became public, and later, official, their children were suddenly connected to the most scrutinized family in the world. But there was something different about Laura. Unlike her half-brothers, Prince William and Prince Harry, Laura never sought attention. In fact, she actively avoided it. Where William grew up in the world's brightest spotlight, Laura lived in deliberate obscurity. She rarely appeared at royal events, seldom gave interviews, and was almost entirely absent from the media narrative surrounding the royal family. For years, this quiet distance fueled rumors. Tabloids began to refer to her as William's secret sister, a mysterious presence in royal photographs who seemed to vanish from the public record as quickly as she appeared. People began to wonder, if she truly was part of the extended royal family, why was she never discussed? Why did she seem hidden from the world? The truth, however, wasn't rooted in scandal. It was rooted in protection. When Prince Charles and Camilla finally married in 2005, their families faced immense public pressure. Both William and Harry were still processing the trauma of their mother's death, and the nation's resentment toward Camilla remained intense. The media was relentless, dissecting every facial expression, every gesture, every possible sign of disapproval from the young princes. Amid all of this, William made a quiet but crucial choice: to protect Camilla's children, and, by extension, his new extended family, from the storm that surrounded his own life. Laura Lopes didn't choose fame. She didn't choose to be the daughter of a future queen. Her world, shaped by art galleries, family life, and anonymity, was one she valued far more than royal attention. Over the years, William and Laura's relationship deepened away from the cameras. They weren't often photographed together, but those close to the royal family say there was mutual respect between them. Both had lived through painful family transitions and public judgment. Both understood what it meant to be caught between loyalty and duty. When Prince William married Catherine Middleton in 2011, Laura was there quietly, sitting among the guests, not in the front row, not waving to cameras, but there nonetheless. And when Laura married Harry Lopes years earlier, both William and Harry attended her ceremony with the same quiet grace. Royal insiders describe their relationship as grounded and genuine, not performative. They don't see each other as symbols, one friend reportedly said. They see each other as people who share a complicated past and deep understanding. So when Prince William was recently asked about his so-called secret sister, he didn't dismiss the idea, but he clarified it. With his signature composure, he said that Laura wasn't a secret at all. She was simply private, someone who chose peace over publicity, and that's the part the media often misses. Not every absence is a mystery, and not every silence hides a scandal. In a family defined by cameras and controversy, sometimes keeping someone out of the spotlight is the truest act of love. Prince William's acknowledgement of that truth revealed something deeper about him, that even as a future king, he values empathy over exposure. And in the story of his secret sister, the world caught a rare glimpse of the man behind the monarchy. Someone who knows the power of family, loyalty, and quiet respect. The royal family has always been a fortress of secrets, with every door carefully guarded and every whisper tightly contained. But what if one of those secrets involved something far more human? A lost bond, a hidden child, and a truth that could shake the monarchy's image of perfection. According to whispers from royal insiders and a few persistent journalists, Prince William's secret sister isn't some mythical fabrication. Her story begins in the early 1980s, long before William or Harry were old enough to understand the complexities of their family's private world. The theory that has gripped the public imagination for years claims that before Princess Diana gave birth to Prince William, doctors performed a fertility procedure to ensure the royal lineage. Unbeknownst to Diana, her eggs were allegedly tested and fertilized as part of a confidential process. But here's where things take a dramatic twist. One of those embryos might have been secretly brought to term by another woman. If this sounds like a royal soap opera, it's because truth sometimes rivals fiction. When Diana discovered this, according to the tale, she was both heartbroken and furious. Friends close to her claimed she once hinted at a child who should not exist and a secret that could end everything. These cryptic remarks, buried in decades of speculation, have never been officially addressed by the palace. Yet, many can't ignore the timing, the medical records from that period, and how Diana seemed increasingly unsettled in private before her tragic passing. Fast forward to the present, Prince William has reportedly come across documents and photos his mother left behind. Among them, one image stood out, a young woman with unmistakably royal features, strikingly similar to both William and Harry. This discovery, insiders say, is what led William to quietly investigate his family's hidden past. It's said he even confided in Catherine, the Princess of Wales, about the possibility that he might have a sister somewhere, someone who never asked for the crown but was destined to live in its shadow. If true, it would explain William's recent cryptic remarks in interviews, where he's spoken about understanding the meaning of family beyond what's visible and forgiving the past. These carefully chosen words suggest a deep emotional revelation, something that has reshaped how he views his heritage. Even his public demeanor has shifted, softer, more reflective, as if he carries a burden that cannot be shared openly. Of course, Buckingham Palace has denied all such rumors, maintaining that Prince William and Prince Harry remain the only children of Diana and King Charles III. Yet, this official stance has done little to silence curiosity. The public's fascination has only grown, especially after journalists uncovered an anonymous woman living in the United States who bears a stunning resemblance to Diana in her youth. Could she be the one? For William, the question isn't about scandal, it's about truth. The more he uncovers, the more he realizes his mother's warnings about the machine she once described were not mere paranoia. It's a haunting reminder that Diana may have taken her most painful secret to the grave. As the mystery deepens, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just a story about royalty. It's about identity, loss, and the price of being born into a world where every secret has consequences. And if William truly has a sister, hidden, protected, or silenced, revealing her existence could change everything we thought we knew about the royal family forever. For Prince William, Uncovering the truth about his alleged sister wasn't a mission born of curiosity. It was a quiet obsession that grew from a single photograph left behind by his late mother. That photo, showing a young woman who looked eerily like a cross between Diana and himself, became the thread that began unraveling decades of royal secrecy. Late at night, behind the closed doors of Kensington Palace, William reportedly spent countless hours piecing together what his mother may have tried to tell him. The trail began with Diana's old journals, now preserved among her personal effects. In one, she wrote cryptically about the experiment, a phrase that would later haunt William. She mentioned doctors and a medical process meant to guarantee the future and a life that was created without love. These were phrases so vague yet emotionally charged that William couldn't shake their meaning. Could Diana have been referring to an embryo, a child, his sister? According to those close to the prince, he quietly contacted individuals who had worked with the royal medical team during the early 1980s. Many refused to speak, citing confidentiality agreements or sudden memory lapses. But one former nurse, now elderly, allegedly told him something chilling, that there had been a test run involving Diana's genetic material before her pregnancy with William. She had a right to know, the nurse supposedly told him, but the palace decided otherwise. William's discovery didn't stop there. Through discreet inquiries and private DNA testing, using samples from his mother's preserved belongings, William's team reportedly found a genetic match to a woman living in the United States. Her name hasn't been publicly revealed, but sources claim she was born in 1981, just months before William himself. She had been adopted at birth and grew up unaware of any royal connection. When contacted, she initially dismissed the idea as impossible. But after learning of the match and reviewing Diana's handwriting and photographs, she reportedly broke down in disbelief. This shocking revelation, however, came at a cost. Word of William's private investigation began to leak among palace insiders. Before long, it reached King Charles himself. What followed was, according to reports, one of the most intense father-son confrontations the royal family had ever seen. Charles, known for his controlled temperament, was said to be visibly shaken. He urged William to let the past rest, insisting that some truths serve no one. But William refused. "Mom deserved the truth," he allegedly said, "and so does she." It was a confrontation that marked a new era, one where William was no longer the obedient heir, but a man determined to protect his mother's legacy. As he delved deeper, William began to understand why Diana had often felt so paranoid about being watched or silenced. Her suspicions about forces at work around her now seemed eerily justified. The more he learned, the more he realized how much had been hidden, not just from the world, but from him and his brother. Meanwhile, the alleged sister's existence, if confirmed, would raise complex legal and moral questions. Would she be recognized by the monarchy? Would her life, once private, now become the center of global fascination? These were questions no one in the royal institution wanted to answer. As the days turned into weeks, William's investigation became not just a search for truth, but a battle between heart and duty. For every document he uncovered, there was another mysteriously missing. For every witness willing to talk, another was silenced or vanished into obscurity. And somewhere in the midst of it all, William realized that this wasn't only about a secret sibling. It was about his mother's voice being erased, her warnings buried beneath protocol and power. The truth he had unearthed didn't just change how he viewed his family, it changed how he viewed the monarchy itself. The discovery weighed heavily on Prince William, not as a royal heir, but as a son trying to understand the legacy his mother left behind. The deeper he ventured into Diana's secret world, the more he realized that the truth was never meant to see the light of day. Every document he found, every whispered confession, pointed to a heartbreaking conclusion. His mother's fears were not paranoia, they were warnings. As William stood in his private study one late evening, the photo of the woman believed to be his sister lay before him. Her resemblance to his mother was uncanny. The same soft eyes, the same gentle smile. It wasn't just imagination. It was blood calling out to blood. The silence of the palace walls seemed almost alive that night, carrying the ghosts of the past. William knew that revealing this truth could fracture everything the monarchy had built over centuries. Yet keeping it buried meant betraying the very principles his mother had lived and died defending. Behind the scenes, the tension between William and King Charles had reached its peak. According to insiders, the two had a series of private meetings away from cameras and court advisors. In one such encounter, Charles reportedly told his son, "There are truths that can destroy us, William. The crown depends on discretion." But William, shaped by years of watching his mother's suffering under that very discretion, wasn't swayed. "Maybe it's time the crown learns honesty," he replied softly, leaving his father speechless. Even Catherine, the Princess of Wales, could sense the emotional storm within her husband. Those close to her said she urged William to think carefully, not just as a royal, but as a father himself. "If the truth hurts you this much, imagine what it could do to your children one day," she cautioned. Yet she also stood by him, acknowledging that his quest wasn't driven by ambition or rebellion. It was about healing a wound that had haunted his family for decades. What came next would shape the course of royal history. After consulting his advisors and a small circle of trusted allies, William made a decision. The world didn't need to know the entire truth. Not yet. The woman in question, living a quiet life across the Atlantic, had no desire for fame or fortune. She reportedly told William, "I don't want the crown. I just wanted to know where I came from." Moved by her words, William agreed to protect her privacy, ensuring she would never be dragged into the relentless spotlight that had once destroyed his mother. Still, the revelation changed him. Those close to the prince say he's become more introspective, more determined to reshape the royal institution into one that values transparency over image. His speeches began to carry a new emotional depth, a subtle but noticeable defiance toward the old ways. Phrases like "truth will always find its way" and "family is built on honesty," not hierarchy, took on new meaning for those who knew his secret. King Charles, meanwhile, quietly accepted his son's decision but remained wary. He understood that some truths once unearthed could never be buried again. "The past will always echo through us," he told William in one of their final conversations about the matter. "Let's make sure it doesn't break us." And so, the story of the secret sister, whether myth or reality, remains locked away, living in the gray space between truth and royal legend. Only a handful of people know the full story, and they have vowed to keep it hidden until the time is right. But for Prince William, the journey changed everything. He no longer sees himself as just the heir to the throne. He sees himself as the protector of a truth that could one day rewrite royal history. In the end, whether or not the world ever meets the woman rumored to be his sister, one thing is certain: Diana's legacy still breathes through her son. Her spirit of compassion, honesty, and rebellion continues to live on in him. And perhaps that's the real secret, not the existence of another royal, but the unshakable truth that love and truth can outlast even the most powerful crown.